Today we're going to prepare the Southern style cheesy grits. Grits are a staple. I'm bringing it back up to a vigorous boil, but I'm using yellow corn grits. 2 cups of water, bring into a vigorous boil, and then I am using the yellow corn grits. Now, yellow corn grits are a little different than the hominy grits, but these grits are milled to preserve the unique flavor of the real corn. So you have to cook it thoroughly. So it takes a little bit longer to cook these than you would, let's say, the hominy grits that most of us are familiar with. And with the grits, you kind of have to, make sure you're stirring them occasionally because they can clump up. I grew up and our babysitter made her grits. She made them really thin, put a little butter on top of them, but they always had clumps in them. Well, I thought that was the way you're supposed to fix grits. So I thought when my mother fixed grits and she didn't have any clumps in it, so I always thought my mom didn't really know how to make grits. Reduce the heat, let it cook a little more, 7 or 8 minutes longer. I've got it on low. I will show you all the seasonings that I'm going to use. But let me know what seasonings that you like to use when you prepare your grits. Do you like it with the sugar, cream, and make it into a cereal? Or do you like the Southern style? Please let me know. When the grits are almost done, I use about a 1/3 package of this non-dairy cheddar shreds. And I just add it to there. And after the cooking show, I want to go over what has come to my attention, which is you've got the whole grocery store out. You're flooded with these cereal bars, and go over maybe a couple of bars to let you know the ones that I feel are the better ones. Melt that cheese. Won't take long. So I have it off, the burner because it does get thick and it's starting to stick. I'm gonna melt that cheese. And I add 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. I also added a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I added a dash of cayenne pepper. And I also added 2 tablespoons of the non-trans fat butter. I like this butter. I can't believe it's butter. It's really good. See, it melts right in. It's a good way to start the day. Now eat this whole bowl and think nothing of it. We're in the after party, which means I'm going to talk a little bit more about some aspect of good living. And today I said I was going to talk about those cereal bars. It's okay to have a go-to here and there, but I just want to make sure that you are aware of what's in these bars. So here you have them. You've got the Sunbelt, and you also have the Kodiak granola crunchy, and the cookie batter is the flavor for this one. This flavor is honey and oats. So what I look at is I want to compare the calories, the fat. I'm looking at the protein, and I'm definitely looking at the sugar, because a lot of the cereal bars that I saw, you might as well have a popsicle for breakfast. That's how high in sugar they are. So I wouldn't even mention those. I wouldn't even recommend those. But again, I'm not that big on cereal bars from coming out the gate. But if you have those days, and we all have those days, or you need something to tie you over, I'm recommending some that are better than some of the others that I've seen. But I'll keep looking because there's so many of them, but I'll keep looking. Okay, so what I had to do was, because you have 2 in this package and you only have 1, so you really couldn't compare them like that. But what I did was I only looking at 1 of these, since you only have 1 of the Sunbelt, and the Sunbelt is a little more than, it's a little bigger than the Kodiak ones, so I had to do some measurements. But anyway, so with those measurements, to try to make it more equivalent, you have 100 calories with 1 bar of this, and when you take out 1 of the bars, because you have 2 in this package, it's 105. The total grams of fat, the total 4.5 grams of fat here, 4.5 grams fat here. With this, I want to know, where's that fat coming from? Well, the fat here is coming from coconut oil. It's also coming from soybean oil, and it's coming from palm kernel oil, which is highly saturated. Both coconut oil and palm kernel oil are very saturated. 6.6 grams of sugar for the Sunbelt, and you have 5 grams here, very close. Sunbelt they do have corn syrup. It's listed in the ingredient list twice, so it definitely has corn syrup. Now, corn syrup linked to type 2 type of diabetes, and it's also linked to heart disease. You have 1.6 grams of protein, but in this one you have 5 grams of protein. That's pretty impressive because they're not sold as a protein bar, but that's a pretty good source of protein for this one. Whole grain ingredients, both whole grain oats are the very first ingredient for both, and I like that. I always read my ingredients. Both of these taste good, they really do. And I really like this, and my mom really likes these. But I would prefer these because there's no corn syrup in it, but high in saturated fat. So I would prefer this. A number of good ingredients in that Kodiak. So Kodiak, I'm good with you on that. I do like them, but recommendation would be what I would recommend, that Kodiak. That's it, folks. I just want to share some good information with you.